Does anyone truly understand ADHD? What if it's not what you imagined, and you could actually change how you deal with it? Welcome to Shift's Perspective, the show where we rethink how we understand the mind. Today, we're talking ADHD, challenging what most people think they know, and looking at how it actually shows up in everyday life. In this episode, we're exploring memory, and how the way people with ADHD experience the world shapes what they notice, remember, and respond. I'm Mr. MINDSHIFT, but just like everyone else, you can call me Shift. Back with me are Cassandra, diagnosed with ADHD at 30, and Joe, whose 20-year-old son was diagnosed at 12. To make sure we all have a shared understanding of what memory actually is, I'll start by briefly walking through it on the screen behind me. Memory consists of several different processes, but to keep things simple, we can think of it in two main parts. Working memory, also called short-term memory, is your brain's ability to hold on to important information. While you're using it, it also helps you retrieve what's needed to complete a task, like a code you just read, a phone number someone tells you, or an address you need to remember. Then there's long-term memory, which stores what you've learned and experienced over time. It allows you to carry out complex actions automatically, things you've practiced or repeated so many times. They feel almost effortless, like riding a bike, driving, finding your way, taking a shower, or doing laundry. Two different systems, but both are essential for navigating everyday life. People remember things in different ways, some by listening, others by seeing, like reading or visual cues, and many remember best by doing, physically engaging with the task or saying it out loud. What we're able to recall depends not just on how it was stored, but also on what we consider important in the moment. Cassandra, I'm curious, do you notice how you remember best? Do you find it hard to follow spoken instructions or longer explanations? And do you find it easier when you can see it written down, or walk through the steps as you go?
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that. If something interests me, it sticks way better. But if I'm not into it, even just a little, it's like my brain doesn't even bother holding on to it. Before I went on sick leave, I really started noticing how bad my memory had gotten. Even simple stuff would just vanish. It made me second-guess myself constantly. And if someone gives me a long explanation out loud, I lose track halfway through. I need to see it written down, or do it myself. That's the only way it really sinks in.
Yeah, what you're describing makes a lot of sense. When we're under pressure, stressed, sleep-deprived, or emotionally overwhelmed, memory takes a hit. The brain just doesn't process and store info the same way. And you're right about interest too. We remember things that feel important, meaningful, or emotionally charged. Not just facts, but experiences that made us feel something. That's why we often recall surprising or negative experiences more clearly. Our brains are wired to remember what feels important, especially when it might help us stay safe next time. When it comes to ADHD and memory, the way information is stored and recalled is often very different because of how the ADHD brain experiences the world. With fast shifts in focus, impulsivity, and constant input, important details can be missed or forgotten in the moment. It's not just about distraction. It's that the brain doesn't always catch and keep the information long enough to use it later. That makes learning harder, and sometimes you don't even know how to start a task or how to finish it. If there's no sense of meaning or motivation, it gets even tougher to stay focused. You forget what matters and why it matters, and when that happens, no real learning takes place. It also affects decision-making, with reduced ability to connect past experiences and predict consequences. You might make snap decisions or avoid making any at all. So it's not about memory being broken. It's about the way attention, emotion, and processing speed shape what gets stored and what doesn't. Hearing all this, the role of attention, memory, and motivation, does it help make sense of some of the behavior that can seem confusing or frustrating from the outside? Joe, I'm wondering if this gives you a new perspective on how your son has responded to things over the years.
Yeah, it actually explains a lot. Back then, I just saw the behavior, the impulsiveness, the bad decisions. The way he kept repeating the same mistakes. It was frustrating, but I didn't understand what was going on underneath. I thought he just didn't care, or that he wasn't trying hard enough. Hearing this now, it kind of shifts the way I see it. Like maybe he was trying, but the way his brain works made it a lot harder than I realized.
That really means a lot to hear, Joe. Understanding what's behind the behavior doesn't change the past, but it can change how we show up moving forward. And that's powerful. So now that we've unpacked some of the why, let's talk about the how. If memory challenges are part of your ADHD experience, there are actually things you can do to make everyday life more manageable. On the screen behind me, I'll walk you through a few strategies that can really make a difference. Structure, predictability, and visual support make a huge difference when memory is a challenge. The more you build it into your everyday life, the easier things get. Start by creating routines, especially for the boring but necessary stuff. If it's part of your daily rhythm, you don't have to remember it from scratch each time. Use planners, checklists, and daily schedules. Write things down in a notebook or on your phone, and check in regularly. Is your system still working? If you use sticky notes, keep them in one place, so they don't become part of the chaos. Set reminders and alarms to help you shift focus and stay on track. Give your things a home, at work, at school, in your bag or pockets, and label with pictures or notes if needed. Step-by-step lists or simple visuals can guide you through everyday tasks, like cleaning, laundry, or staying on top of work. And finally, plan ahead. Think through what's coming up, and have a strategy ready. In the video description, you'll find a link to the 10 H's. So much of this isn't about ability. It's about access. When you understand how your brain works, you can start building systems around it, instead of fighting against it. And that's where real change begins. Not by becoming someone else, but by giving yourself the tools to succeed as you. That's it for this episode. And with that, we've now covered all the core mental functions individually, from attention and memory to impulse control, emotional regulation, and more. We've explored how each function plays out in everyday life. When you're living with ADHD, in our final episode, we'll turn our attention to interests and strengths. In every episode so far, we've looked at both the challenges and the potential that comes with ADHD. But when we design daily life around a person's strengths, everything starts to shift. It becomes easier to learn, easier to thrive, because focus, meaning, and engagement naturally increase. So join us next time as we explore what happens when ADHD is met with the right kind of support. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to explore this on a more personal level, join the free Shifts Perspective Forum. Link is below. And for those of you who want to go deeper, you'll also find worksheets, tools, and extra content in the description. Hope to see you again.